Hey guys, what's going on? It's ChunLi here again, and I felt like doing an updated video. I'm gonna give a top 10 and the bottom 5 for the game, and then I'm gonna talk about my general thoughts about the game. Um, so, I kind of have hit a frustrating plateau with this game. Plus, I have other things in my life going on, so it's just very hard for me right now to really grind the way I want to and work on being better. But I have been watching a lot of tournaments and stuff, and I want to talk about my current opinion on the state of the game. First thing I want to say out the bat is this is the best launch version of a fighting game as far as balance goes. I think the game's balance is pretty good for the most part. But as it gets figured out more, I feel like the cracks are starting to show, and that's okay because first versions of fighting games are always bad. Um, but this is definitely the best that a fighting game has ever been on launch. Um, and I'll talk about that after we get past the top 10 and bottom 5 because basically I'm at a point where I um, am a little frustrated with some aspects of the game now. I was having nothing but fun with the game, and I still do have fun, but there are certain things and trends in the gameplay that have gotten kind of old at this point. Um, and it feels like sometimes there's not much else to do but cater to those trends, and we'll talk about that later. So, I think I'm going to start actually at the bottom 5. We're going to do bottom 5, and then I'm going to do top 10, and the top 10 is going to actually be properly ordered. So, bottom 5 to me in this game right now is just off the bat, it's definitely Dalsim, Lily, Manon, Kimberly, and like Re, yeah, Ryu. Um, all these characters um, they just don't do their specialties well enough, or they're just not strong enough overall compared to like the stronger characters in the game, and it's just as simple as that. I don't think there's anything in particular. You only get into particular things, I think, when you get into the top tiers in this game. But with that said, I want to start talking about what my top 10 opinions are. Um, so, it's kind of hard for me to really place this, and I'm gonna have some controversial picks because of where I'm placing them on here, but I have to right now. It would be dishonest if I made a tier list where I um, try to like avoid getting roasted for an opinion that might be sus or something. So the first thing I'm going to say is we're starting from the bottom of top 10, right? So the worst character in the top 10 to me, but is top 10, is Zangief. I do not care what anybody says about this character. He gets way too rewarded for one right decision, to the point where like I just don't know. Uh, I think this character, it's a combination. It does too much damage. It's too easy, especially in modern, to mash SPD out in ambiguous situations and come out with a favorable trade, like in scrambles. His level 3 super, in my opinion, is the best level 3 in the entire game. It does over half life on a punish counter, it does half life normally. It's it's the only command grab super in the game that's not jumpable when you see the screen freeze. I hate this level 3. I feel like it's a bit fraudulent, if I'm going to be honest. And also, I think he beats my character, DJ. I think it's one DJ's few losing matchups. But I think Zangief is really good. I think you're only going to see the better people get with this character, he's going to start climbing up in the amount of usage he gets. I think Zangief is nuts. He does too much damage. He does, um, and his command grab setups are like really not that bad. Like his tick pressure is really not that bad. And Drive Rush just kind of breaks the rules for him, and that's like a thing about this game that maybe is not so fun to deal with. Is I feel like Drive Rush allows too many characters to shore up weaknesses in some way. Even if Zangief doesn't get the best, he still forces you to do very committal options to get out of getting destroyed. Um, there's also the fact that he gets SPDs as his punish off perfect parries, um, and sometimes he gets bear grab off parry. And that is really fucking obnoxious because it doesn't scale all that much. And yeah, I am not convinced this character is bad, and I'm not even convinced he's okay. I think this character is in the top 10 of the game. I just don't think, with the rewards that he gets for the things he can do, that this character could ever possibly be bad, to be honest. His comeback factor is too strong. Obviously, it's not the best, which is why he's at the bottom of top 10, but I fucking hate this character. This is the most I've ever hated a grappler in any fighting game in my life is Street Fighter 6 Zangief. Um, After that, we're going to go to... This is hard. The top 10 is hard to think about. I'm going to go to Blanca for obvious reasons. Blanca has... he breaks the strike throw shimmy paradigm because of airball being plus. The level 2 super and doll setups are just beyond fucked up right now. Yeah, I think this character is really good. Um, I also think he's interesting to watch. Like, he's not fun to play against, but I think he's interesting to watch because he's also a character that has a lot of room for player expression. So, like, it's fun to watch, but I think this character is definitely top tier with what he can do. Like, he doesn't do big damage off of a lot of generic decisions in this game, right? But he does a lot of damage off of the things that he's good at capitalizing on, like forced trades or the setups he gets. In those situations, he does ridiculous damage, considering what he's getting it off of. Yeah, I definitely think Blanca's top tier. This might be the best Blanca's ever been since like CVS2 Blanco. Um, and I think that's actually cool because I think it's kind of weird that Blanca's always kind of been a low tier monster in most games that he's in. So I'm actually kind of glad that he is. But yeah, this character is really good. Um, After Blanca, I'm gonna put Rasheed there. I think Rasheed, once he's been explored enough and optimized, I think this character is ridiculous. And in the current state of the game, since we know and they have said outright there will be no balance patches for a full year, I think the longer this game goes, the better this character will get. He doesn't have the best anti-airing and he doesn't have the best damage, but his pressure, the way that level 2 allows him to completely swing the momentum of a match, even if he's at a disadvantage, is ridiculous. And his rush down is good. It's a lot of knowledge checks that even when you know how to knowledge check, there's layers to it, and it makes it very difficult. Plus his movement speed is insane. If you're not like on your toes, he just gets it for free. If you don't have a way to check him setting up Tornado to get in, there's just nothing you can do. Yeah, you can jump back on reaction to certain things, but I think Rasheed's very good. And I honestly think his design in this game is cooler than Street Fighter V. I think he's a lot more interesting in this game, but I think he's top tier. I think he's destined to be top tier, but this is like speculation because there's not enough data on this character. So that's 10, 9, 8. So 7 is going to have to be ChunLi. This character is held downplayed at the moment by the people that play her. You should never listen to what a Chun player has to say about Chun-Li. That's the top thing I've learned about this game. She is everything you need. She is great damage. She is fantastic neutral control. Um, the only thing that this character doesn't have is a throw loop. And if it wasn't for the fact she was so astronomically good at everything else, she would be mediocre. But I think the only thing that keeps her from being a top 5 character is that she has to drive rush in to throw loop you. And that, if they changed that, she'd be top 1, in my opinion. I think she'd be better than Ken or any of the other characters if she had like a throw loop that just worked, and if she had less finicky conversions. I think that's another problem with this character, is that it can be weird to convert from distance with her sometimes. But Chun-Li is like the epitome of like a high-powered jack of all trades character, although she's not the best one in this game, obviously. So at number 6, it's Honda for sure. I guess it's Honda. So I thought this character was bad, and that was only because the level of Honda gameplay wasn't very high when I did my first video. But there is one thing that seems to set good Hondas apart from bad Hondas, and that is they do yellow sumo slam, and they can hit, confirm, punish, counter sumo slam. Because it goes from like a 5% hit that you take into Oki into like 28% into Oki. And the fact that he forces you to have to perfect parry to stop his offense is a problem. I personally don't know that I like any character that forces you to have to use an advanced technique like perfect parry to counter. It's a kind of the thing I didn't like about MK11. I didn't like that there were characters that you had to be a good flawless block user in order to even have a chance. It's not as bad as in this game, but I kind of don't like the way Honda's designed in this game. Because the amount of effort that the Honda player is doing versus what you're doing is so skewed in his favor. All the mental stack and all the taxes on you. But there's no doubt that he's a great character now. Now that the average Honda is a lot better. He does such good damage, and when he is a life lead, it is so hard to take it back from him because of the caliber of read you're required to make. Yeah, Honda's really good. So I gotta talk about the top. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm right about top 10. Let me reconsider this. Okay. Let's I didn't think about a couple of characters. So actually let's start over. Real quick. So we're gonna remove Zangief from the bottom of top 10, and we're gonna remove Rasheed. Because it's actually like Blanca, Honda, and Jury. Yeah. Okay. Let's redo this. So let's say that my bottom 10 ordered is Blanca and Honda at the bottom at 10 and 9. And then this is the hard part. Jury or Cami. One of these characters has to go below top 5. They just have to, because there's 4 characters that definitely have to be in top 5, no question. I guess I'm going to overall say Jury, because she doesn't have the results of Cami. I think Cami's just better overall. So I'm going to say Jury is like number 7. And I don't think I need to talk about much why she's so good. She's just very fundamentally sound, which is a trend in this game, which is probably for the best. But the real offender here with this character is Fireball and DR. And that's a thing I'll talk about in general later. But Fireball and DR, especially on this character, is absurd. And She just does good damage. She is really good confirmed. She has very good anti-air. She is very good pressure in the corner. And the more that people optimize Feng Shui engine pressure and stuff like that, especially if you're in burnout, it gets bad. Um, but I'm not convinced she's a top 5 character. Just not at this point. Um, because she can be outplayed by just playing fundamentally better. She is nothing that's like so oppressive you can't outplay it in certain situations, like the top 5 do. And then at number 6, and this is where I might get some grief from some people, is DJ. I no longer am convinced DJ is the top 5 character in this game. Um, so, to reiterate his strengths, he is very good offense. He is very high damage. And his neutral game is pretty good. But it just does not seem to offset the fact that he doesn't have a hit confirmable crouching medium kick into full combo. His anti-airing is very finicky, both because 4HK just doesn't have a lot of range, so the person has to be kind of on top of you jumping to anti-air with that. And Jackknife Flash Kick is kind of awful at anti-airing anything but like mid range. I have been jumped over, have my flash kick jumped over so many times in this game, trying to anti-air and bait a jump, that it's kind of obscene. And yeah, would. I'm gonna be honest here. I think I would like to see some changes made to DJ. I don't want him buffed per se, but what he does right now that's unique is not powerful enough in the engine of the game for me to feel like I could solo main this character. Especially when there's a character in top 5 that I'm going to talk about that just, I don't know, seems like they destroy everything he does. And I'll talk about that later. So now I'm going to get into the top 5. So I do want to talk about this because I have a controversial opinion, I guess, here, in that I don't think Luke is top 5. He might be in top 10, and I may be bugging with my list here. Like, this game is very hard to make a tier list for, in my opinion. But I think Luke is just average and solid. That's about it. He's good, but he doesn't have any X factor. The top 5 characters, in my opinion, in this game, they have like a real X factor, like something that just pushes them way over the edge. So the first character I'm going to talk about in that conversation definitely has to be Guile. Guile is just DJ without the weaknesses, and that's it. And that's the only reason that he's better than DJ. Guile is less focused on offense than DJ is. He's kind of a more evenly distributed character as far as how his dials are turned. And besides having lower damage than DJ, he has better buttons, better neutral control, better anti-airs, better offense even. Guile's just better DJ. Unfortunately, DJ right now just seems to be suffering from being a worse Guile, even if he is top tier, top 10. But Guile just edges him out in everything. And so much to the point where I'm considering picking up both characters, since I'm playing already a charge and flash kick character. I'm considering also picking up Guile. But yeah, I think Guile's absurd. Like, it says effective range, long range, but Guile's good everywhere on screen. He's pretty nuts. He only starts getting weaker in some areas when you get into, like, the highest level, in my opinion. But that's my take on that. Number 4 is... Let's think for a second here. Number 4 is Cami. I fucking hate this character. It kind of feels like playing against launch, or what was it, launch or season 2 Street Fighter 5 Cami again. Um, her pressure is nuts. Her movement speed is nuts. She gets conversions off of so many situations. Instant air dive kick is ridiculously impressive in this game. Um, and she is level 3, which shuts the game down entirely if you're trying to play neutral, especially if it's a modern Cami, and I'm not even going to bother diving into the modern conversation right now, except I think it's a problem. um, yeah, she's just good and fast. She has like top tier qualities, but she's also fast, and that's a big deal. Um, so the only reason she's not like in the top 3 in this game is just because she doesn't have any projectiles. She doesn't have anything beyond her movement that's like really stand out. So now we gotta get to my top 3 here. And I'm very definitive about this. This will never change for as long as this game is out. Um, the 3 spot is Marissa. I think this is the worst designed character in the whole game. Absolutely absurd. It's like Abigail, but worse. Launch Abigail, but worse. Um, Here's the thing, at least with Abigail, you had to maybe do something like do a sweep into a V-trigger activation to make your comeback. Marissa is like if Abigail just had VT1 all the time. Um, and she breaks the rules by having armor, which is, in her case, really dumb. Um, this is another character that in order to fully combat, you have to be able to perfect parry, and she's harder to fight than she is to play. I think her damage is absolutely nuts to the point where I think it's legitimately unfair. I do not believe a character in this game should be able to realistically kill you from 80%, but it happens all the time with this character. I think she needs a damage nerf, among other things, really badly, because I think she's kind of toxic for the game. Um, yeah, she's definitely top tier. I hate this character. I cannot stand this character. I send win hate mail every time I beat a Marissa in ranked. Um, yeah, top 3 for sure. Next is JP. Um, it's kind of funny. We thought this character was top tier at first, and then it looked like he wasn't going to be because we started to figure things out. But then once the JP players started adapting back, it's only gotten worse, right? So I think he is mostly fair. It's the fact that amnesia is what really puts him over the edge, and I don't know what to do about that. I kind of agree with Broski, who mentioned that maybe he just needs to be less active and have more whiff recovery instead of making it loose to throws, but something needs to happen to this, and he just gets way too much momentum if he gets you burnt out and sends you full screen, to the point where sometimes it can just feel like there's no point in trying to play the game anymore until your bar comes back if he doesn't kill you first. He has crazy mix-ups that a zoner should not have. I would almost rather this character's zoning game be stronger than it is than him also have set play. But he has set play, and you have to deal with it. Definitely a crazy-ass character. Probably one of the coolest Street Fighter characters ever made, and I think he's one of the coolest characters in this game. But he's a nightmare against people who are like fully optimized with this character, and it's obnoxious to play against. And then my number 1 pick is going to be Ken. I think Ken is actual horseshit. There are 3 things to me that are just so powerful about this character that he doesn't need anything else. It's the way EX Fireball works. standing heavy punch and generally kick pressure against characters that deal with flash kicks. This character, in my opinion, is definitely the definition of too good. In Burnout, he has button into DI that is inescapable. And he has button into DI that's inescapable by jumping even if you have resources. Like, you have to super to get out. His damage is absolutely insane. This character should not be carrying you all the way to the corner and doing like 25% of your health off a jab, even if it's a punch counter, while spending no bar to do it, by the way. I think that's just absurd. And no character in this game, besides like the way DJs works, this character, the damage he gets off of EX Fireball on someone zoning as a read is unfair. It's straight unfair. I got killed by Ken one time in a match. I was DJ and the Ken had 10% life left. I had half life, 50% left. This Ken, on a fireball read, which I was trying to keep him out because I knew if he got in it could be over, I was trying to zone him out, and he did EX Fireball, DI, Heavy Punch, DP level 3, and it killed. Like, I just, like, despite the fact he was at 10% health, it's like the game was stacked against me no matter what I did. I didn't even do double Fireball with DJ. I did single Fireball to try to bait, like, a jump or something, and he did yellow EX Fireball, yellow DI Heavy Punch DP level 3. And he killed me from Half-Life. I dislike this character's damage. I dislike how much neutral control he has for being a rushdown character, and I think that's really the big thing a lot of people could agree on, is that he's a rushdown character with all the advantages of a good neutral Shoto. And it's just results in a mix of things that's not fun to fight against, and results in every other character in this game fighting an uphill battle against this character. I think if they don't get rid of it universally, he needs to lose his throw loop. I think EX Fireball needs to lose the combo potential, just straight up. He should not have this. And I think that Heavy Punch needs a severe frames nerf, both in terms of whiff recovery, but also in terms of how plus it is. Like, this shit should only be getting like a bare minimum combo on a DI or a punish counter. This button is absurd, and it kind of breaks the intended weaknesses Ken is usually supposed to have. But also, I think he needs to lose his convertibility off jabs. He gets rewards from jabs. They're just astronomical compared to everybody else, to the point where it does feel kind of unfair. So, yeah, that's my bottom 5 and top 10 for the game. And then I'm going to talk about general issues I dislike about the game at the moment that I think should be addressed in some way. The first one is throw loops in general. I really dislike throw loops. I don't know if they were intended or not. It makes no sense that they are, since ChunLi is the one character that doesn't have them, and yet there are characters better than her that have throw loops. Personally, I think this is bad for the game. It's one of the few things in the game that I legitimately will say is scrubby, because you do sometimes just get killed because you got autopiloted on by someone just doing throw or shimmy over and over in the corner. I really dislike throw loops. I think that every character in this game should have to DRN to get a throw loop. That's a big one for me. That kind of takes some of the fun out of the game for me. Another thing that I am kind of disliking at the moment is that I mentioned Ken, but there are other characters where they have legit jailing button into DI in the corner. Um, I get the idea. Like, you should have managed your resources better, and it makes sense in theory, but I think the risk reward is still not fair because you have to use your resources a lot more in this game than I think we anticipated. So if you watch matches, even the highest level, people are in burnout quite often in this game. So the idea that you can just be force stunned because you blocked any button is crazy to me. And I personally don't think that should exist. I think the stun situation should always be escapable and should only be because you made a bad read on defense. That's the only reason you should ever end up getting stunned in this game. But that's my personal opinion about it. Maybe some of you disagree. If you disagree, I'd like to hear that. But that's another thing I do not like is sequences that just jail you into getting stunned by DI. Another thing I dislike, and this is a pretty common complaint about the game, I think, is that hitting somebody in a YOLO DR neutral is not a punish counter. That needs to change ASAP. It definitely needs to be a punish counter every time you check that. Once again, it's a risk reward problem. You get a jab into like one special, like one jab into one special or something because you don't hit them out far enough to even like another button. And yeah, it's just it's so weighted in the favor of the guy doing the drive rush that yeah, it's a bit silly. So that's kind of my thoughts on the current state of the game right now. I'm still playing it and I still enjoy it for the most part, but there are definitely some hang-ups that I'm finding myself very frustrated with. And yeah, that's my bottom 5 and top 10, and that's my opinion on the current state of the game. So still, I think the game's very good. I like it a lot. I'm going to keep playing it. But it'll definitely be better by Season 2, for sure. It will have to be. But let me know what you guys think, especially about the general things I complained about, like throw loops and being jailed into DI at the wall. And catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.